Picture yourself on the Titanic's deck, April 1912. The icy North Atlantic air stinging your face. Its briny temps sharp as you grip a cold steel railing. The ship's hum vibrating beneath your feet. The stars gleam above, but unseen icebergs lurk in the dark, per survivor accounts. You're a passenger, your woolen coat heavy, unaware of the chaos to come. Step into the Titanic's doomed voyage, a marvel of luxury turned tragedy, claiming over 1,500 lives, per 1912 inquiry reports. From perilous seas to frantic evacuations, this disaster tested human endurance. Per records like the British Wreck Commission, in this soothing journey, we'll explore 6 reasons survival was unlikely: harsh conditions, chaotic collisions, scarce lifeboats, freezing waters, class divides, and delayed rescues, revealing why your modern comforts would falter in 1912's grim reality. Settle in, let the gentle rhythm of this tale lull you through a distant, icy night, and discover the Titanic's haunting legacy. For more calming history, subscribe to Boring History to sleep and drift into the past. And yet, the world spun on for a moment. Picture yourself standing on the Titanic's Grand Promenade deck, April 1912. The North Atlantic's icy air stinging your face, its briny tang sharp as you grip a polished steel railing, its surface slick with frost under your gloved fingers. You're a passenger, your heavy woolen coat damp from the sea's mist, its coarse fibers brushing your neck, per survivor accounts like those of Lawrence Beasley. The deck's teak planks gleam under dim electric lights, their smooth grain cold beneath your leather shoes, per archaeological finds of Titanic's deck materials. The night sky sparkles with stars, their light crisp, but the dark sea below conceals deadly icebergs, per 1912 British Wreck Commission reports. Vibrating through the deck, per Titanic's design records. Hear the distant clang of a bell from the crow's nest, a soft warning swallowed by the wind's low moan, per crew testimonies from the Senate inquiry. Smell the faint coal smoke drifting from the funnels, its acrid scent mingling with the ocean's salt. Per ship logs noting relentless boiler activity. This is the Titanic's voyage, a journey through perilous conditions, seas, inadequate safety measures, and hidden dangers that set the stage for catastrophe. Step into this cold, starry scene now, and let the gentle rhythm of its tale unfold, revealing why your modern reliance on safety and technology would falter in this era of untested luxury. And yet the world spun on for a moment. You pace the deck, the air thick with the Atlantic's chill, its temperature hovering near freezing. Per meteorological records from April 1912, the teak underfoot is slick with frost, its polished surface treacherous, per survivor accounts describing slippery decks. Feel the coarse weave of your scarf, its wool scratchy as you pull it tighter, the cold seeping through your coat's thick layers. Per Beasley's The Loss of the Titanic, noting the biting night air. Hear the soft murmur of fellow passengers, their voices muffled by the wind, blending with the creak of wicker deck hairs, their frames swaying gently. Per archaeological evidence of Titanic's deck furnishings. Smell the faint tang of polished brass from the railings, its metallic scent sharp in the frigid air as you pass a lifeboat, its canvas cover flapping loosely. Per 1912 inquiry reports highlighting minimal lifeboat inspections, The Titanic steamed at full speed through iceberg-laden waters, ignoring multiple ice warnings from nearby ships. Per Senate inquiry findings documenting 6 alerts disregarded. Your hand grips the railing. It's steel icy as you shiver, the ship's steady hum masking the peril below. Your modern comforts weather apps regulated speeds would crumble here, where overconfidence guided the way, and yet the world spun on. For a moment, you descend to the third-class corridors below deck. The air warmer but heavy with the musty scent of coal dust, its faint grit clinging to the steel walls. The narrow passageway hums, its vibration steady from the engine's distant thrum. Per Titanic's engineering logs, feel the smooth varnish of a wooden handrail, its surface worn from countless hands as you navigate the crowded stairs. Per Survivor Violet Jessup's memoirs describing packed lower decks. Hear the clatter of tin mugs from a communal dining area, their metallic clinks mingling with the chatter of passengers. Per records of third-class amenities. Smell the faint staleness of damp linens, their odor lingering in the cramped quarters. Per archaeological finds of recovered cabin items. Safety drills were nearly non-existent, with crew untrained for mass evacuation and passengers uninformed. Per British inquiry findings, noting only one cursory lifeboat drill in Southampton. Your hand brushes your coat, its wool damp from the deck's mist as you move. The ship's luxury, a thin veil over danger. Your modern safety mandatory drills, clear protocols would falter here, where preparedness was an afterthought. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, you pause at a porthole, the air colder now, carrying the sharp temps of salt as you peer into the inky sea. Its surface deceptively calm, per survivor Jack Thayer's account of the eerie quiet before. The collision, the glass is cool, its edge fogged with your breath. Per descriptions of Titanic's porthole designs. Feel the coarse texture of your gloves, their leather stiff from the cold. As you lean closer, the ship's gentle sway lulling. Per survivor Charlotte Collier's memoirs. Hear the faint splash of waves against the hull, their rhythm steady, blending with the soft creak of the ship's steel frame. Per engineering reports of Titanic's construction. Smell the faint coal smoke, its acrid edge sharper in the night air as the funnels loom above. Per ship logs, noting constant boiler activity. Lookouts in the crow's nest lacked binoculars, a critical oversight. Per Senate inquiry testimony, leaving icebergs unseen in the dark. Your hand rests on the porthole's rim, its metal chilled as you gaze out, unaware of the looming threat. Your modern technology radar satellite tracking would crumble here, where human eyes alone stood watch. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, you return to your cabin, the air stuffy, carrying the faint scent of polished oak, its varnish sweet in the confined space. Per recovered Titanic cabin artifacts. The bunk's mattress is thin, its wool blanket scratchy against your skin. Per third-class passenger accounts of modest accommodations. Feel the smooth brass of a wall-mounted lamp, its glow dim, casting soft shadows. Per survivor accounts of cabin lighting. Hear the low drone of the engines, their vibration a constant hum, blending with the distant clink of cutlery from a first-class dining saloon. Per Jessup's memoirs of class contrasts. With shared breaths, per records of packed third-class cabins. Life vests were stored haphazardly, often inaccessible. per 1912 inquiry findings on poor safety distribution. Your body sinks into the bunk. The blanket's weight slight as you drift. The ships hum a deceptive comfort, per survivor logs noting passenger ignorance of danger. Your modern life emergency alerts. Safety, gearwood, falter, here, where luxury hid peril. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, you rise again, drawn to the deck, the air now biting. Its icy chill seeping through your coat as you step into the starlit night, per survivor accounts of clear April skies. The tick deck is frosted, its planks slick underfoot. Per archaeological studies of Titanic's materials, feel the coarse scarf, its wool damp, as you wrap it tighter, the cold, relentless, per Beasley's descriptions of freezing nights. Hear the soft whistle from the bridge, a faint signal lost in the wind, per crew testimonies of ignored ice warnings. Smell the faint salt of the sea, its tang sharp as you lean against the railing. The ship's speed unwavering, per inquiry reports criticizing high velocity in iceberg waters. The Titanic's crew underestimated the risk. With only 20 lifeboats for over 2,200 souls, per White Star Line records. Your hand grips the railing, its frost biting as you stand, the sea's dark expanse hiding danger. Your modern safeguards. Safety, oversight would crumble here where hubris sailed on. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, reflect on this era where the Titanic steamed through icy seas, its air thick with coal smoke and the hum of false security. You lie in the cabin, the blanket's coarse weave a thin comfort as the ship's rhythm lulls you, danger unseen. Feel the bunk's chill, its frame creaking as the night's quiet hums. Hear the distant waves, their splash a whisper of hidden icebergs. Per inquiry reports of ignored warnings. Smell the faint salt air, a hint of the Atlantic's threat. As peril looms, historical record survivor accounts. Wreck analyze paint, a voyage doomed by conditions. Per studies estimating 1,500 lives lost. Your modern world technology, safety, would crumble here where overconfidence met ice. Let this scene fade, its quiet tension a testament to their fate, as we move to the catastrophic collision that unleashed chaos. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, picture yourself in a dimly lit third-class cabin aboard the Titanic. April 14th, 1912. The air heavy with the musty scent of damp linens, its faint staleness clinging to your woolen coat as you jolt awake. A sudden shudder rippling through the ship's steel frame. You're a passenger, your coarse blanket scratchy, slipping from the narrow bunk as the floor tilts slightly. Per survivor accounts, like those of Lawrence Beasley, the electric lamp flickers, its brass fixture cool under your trembling fingers. Per archaeological finds of Titanic's cabin fittings, feel the polished wood of the bunk's edge, its varnish worn as you stand, heart pounding. Per survivor Violet Jessup's memoirs of the collision's shock. Here, a distant crash, like glass shattering, blending with muffled shouts from the corridor. Per 1912 British Wreck Commission reports describing the iceberg's impact. Smell the faint tang of coal dust seeping from below as water's icy gurgle echoes faintly. Per crew testimonies of flooding compartments. This is the Titanic's catastrophic collision, unleashing chaos that overwhelmed passengers and crew. A moment where survival became a desperate scramble. Step into this tense, tilting scene now. and let the gentle rhythm of its tale unfold, revealing why your modern reliance on order would falter in this era of panic and disarray. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, you stumble into the corridor, the air colder, carrying the sharp temps of salt as water seeps through unseen cracks. Per survivor accounts of flooding lower decks, the steel walls hum faintly, their vibrations unsteady. Per Titanic's engineering logs, noting structural strain, feel the smooth handrail, its wood slick, as you navigate the crowded passageway. Passengers shoving past, their woolen coats brushing yours, per Jessup's descriptions of third-class panic. Hear the frantic cries in languages you don't understand, blending with the creak of the ship's tilting frame. Per 1912 Senate inquiry reports of multilingual confusion. Smell the faint must of damp air, the ship's lower levels flooding fast. Per crew testimonies of rapid water ingress, the iceberg tore a 300-foot gash, damaging multiple compartments. Per rec analyzes from 1985 expeditions. Your hand grips the rail, its varnish chipped as you push upward, the ship's tilt growing. Per survivor Charlotte Collier's account of sloping floors, your modern world emergency plans. Clear exits would crumble here, where chaos reigned, and yet the world spun on. For a moment, you reach the upper decks, the air biting, its icy chill stinging your face as you emerge into the starlit night. Per survivor accounts of clear April skies, the deck's teak planks are slick with frost, their polished surface treacherous. Under your leather shoes, per archaeological studies of Titanic's deck materials, feel the coarse weave of your scarf, its wool damp as you clutch it. The ship's list more pronounced, per Beasley's, the loss of the Titanic. Hear the sharp whistle of officers, their voices strained, shouting orders to uncover lifeboats. Per British Inquiry reports of disorganized evacuation. Smell the faint coal smoke from the funnels, its acrid scent mixing with the sea salt as passengers crowd the rails. Per survivor Jack Thayer's testimony of growing panic, the crew was unprepared, with no clear evacuation plan. Per Senate inquiry findings noting inadequate training, your hand brushes a lifeboat's canvas cover, its fabric stiff as you push through the throng, fear rising. Your modern safety-coordinated rescues, drills would falter here, where confusion ruled, and yet the world spun on for a moment. The deck tilts further, the air thick with the briny temps of the sea, its waves lapping louder against the hull. Per survivor accounts of the ship's sinking angle, the electric lights flicker, casting eerie shadows on the deck. Per archaeological finds of Titanic's wiring, feel the smooth steel of a railing, its frost biting your ungloved hand as you cling for balance. Per Collier's memoirs of slipping passengers, hear the crack of a flare, its hiss piercing the night, blending with cries of desperation. Per crew testimonies of distress signals, smell the faint panic of sweat-soaked wool as passengers surge toward lifeboats. Per 1912 inquiry reports of chaotic crowds, the ship's watertight compartments failed, with design flaws, allowing water to spill over. Per rec analyzes confirming bulkhead weaknesses. Your heart races, the deck's slant steepening as you scramble, the crowd's push overwhelming. Your modern systems emergency broadcasts, organized evacuations would crumble here, where disorder took hold. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, you find a stairwell, the air heavier with the musty scent of flooding below. It's damp, chill seeping through your coat, per survivor accounts of lower deck conditions. The steps are crowded, their steel treads slick, per archaeological evidence of Titanic's staircases. Feel the coarse fabric of your coat, its buttons straining, as you're jostled by frantic passengers, per Jessup's descriptions of third-class struggles. Hear the groan of the ship's frame, its steel buckling under pressure, blending with shouts of stewards, per Senate inquiry, reports of crew confusion. Smell the faint metallic temps of wet steel as water rises below, per crew logs noting flooded boiler rooms. Third-class passengers faced locked gates, delaying escape, per 1912 inquiry findings on restricted access. Your hand grips a banister, its metal cold as you climb, the ship's tilt disorienting. Your modern world equitable access, clear paths would falter here, where barriers trapped many, and yet the world spun on. For a moment, night deepens, the air colder, carrying the sharp salt of the sea. As you reach the boat deck, the lifeboats swinging from davits, per survivor Thayer's account of frantic loading. The deck slopes sharply, its teak glistening with frost, per archaeological studies of recovered deck fragments. Feel the smooth rope of a lifeboat's rigging, its fibers damp, as you watch officers struggle, per British inquiry, reports of untrained crew. Hear the wail of a child, lost in the crowd, blending with the snap of a flare overhead, per crew testimonies of signal attempts. Smell the faint panic of burning coal as boilers strain below, per ship logs noting last efforts. The Titanic sank in under 3 hours, with chaos preventing orderly evacuation, per wreck timelines. Your body trembles, the cold and fear gripping, as you push toward a lifeboat, the crowd's desperation palpable. Your modern safety-trained responders systems crumble here, where panic defined the night. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, reflect on this era where the Titanic's collision sparked chaos, the air thick with salt, and the cries of the desperate under starry skies. You stand on the tilting deck, the scarf's course weave a thin comfort as the ship's groan lulls you, panic fading into a grim hum. Feel the icy railing, its chill seeping as the night's tension lingers. Hear the distant flares, their hiss, a fleeting plea, per inquiry reports of failed signals. Smell the coal smoke, a reminder of the ship's doom as chaos reigns. Historical record survivor accounts. Wreck analyzes paint, a disaster where disorder claimed over 1,500 lives, per 1912 inquiry estimates. Your modern world emergency plans, safety would crumble here, where panic overwhelmed all. Let this scene fade, its quiet despair a testament to their struggle, as we move to the next trial. Insufficient lifeboats sealing fates. And yet, the world spun on for a moment. Picture yourself on the Titanic's tilting boat deck, April 14th, 1912. The icy North Atlantic air biting your face, its briny temps sharp as you clutch a coarse woolen coat, its damp fibers clinging to your shivering frame. You're a third-class passenger, your leather shoes slipping on the frost-slick tick deck. Per archaeological finds of Titanic's deck materials, the ship lists its steel hull groaning under the weight of flooding, per 1912 British Wreck Commission reports. Feel the smooth rope of a lifeboat's rigging, its fibers cold and damp, as you push through a panicked crowd. Per survivor Lawrence Beasley's account of chaotic evacuation. Hear the sharp shouts of officers, their voices strained, ordering women and children first, blending with the wail of a distant child. Per Senate inquiry testimonies. Smell the faint coal smoke from the dying funnels, its acrid scent mixing with the sea's salt. Per ship logs noting boiler shutdowns. Only 20 lifeboats swing from the davits, far too few for over 2,200 souls. Per White Star Line records. This is the Titanic's desperate hour, where insufficient lifeboats doomed most, leaving you in a frantic struggle. Step into this cold, chaotic scene now, and let the gentle rhythm of its tale unfold, revealing why your modern reliance on safety would falter in this era of scarcity and panic. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment you press through the crowd, the air thick with the chill of the Atlantic, its icy grip seeping through your coat. Per survivor Violet Jessup's Memoirs of Freezing Decks. The deck slopes sharply, its teak planks glistening with frost. Per archaeological studies of recovered deck fragments. Feel the coarse weave of your scarf, its wool scratchy as you clutch it, your breath misting in the starlit night. Per Bees, the loss of the Titanic. Hear the creak of lifeboat davits, their metal grinding as crews struggle to lower them. Per 1912 inquiry reports of untrained handling. Smell the faint panic of sweat-soaked wool as passengers shove toward the boats. Per survivor Jack Thayer's testimony of desperate crowds. The Titanic carried lifeboats for only 1,178 people, half its capacity. Per White Star Line specifications, a fatal oversight rooted in outdated regulations. Per British inquiry findings, your hand grazes a lifeboat's canvas cover, its fabric stiff as you push forward, the crowd's desperation overwhelming. Your modern, world-regulated safety, ample lifeboats would crumble here, where scarcity sealed fates. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, you reach a lifeboat, the air colder, carrying the sharp temps of salt as waves lap louder against the tilting hull. Per survivor accounts of the ship's sinking angle, the boat swings, its wooden frame creaking. Per archaeological evidence of lifeboat construction, feel the smooth steel of a railing, its frost biting your ungloved hand as you cling for balance. Per Charlotte Collier's account of slipping passengers, hear the shrill whistle of an officer directing first-class women to board, their silk dresses rustling. Per Senate inquiry reports of class prioritization. Smell the faint metallic temps of wet steel as the ship's frame groans. Per crew testimonies of structural strain, lifeboats were launched half full, with some carrying as few as 12 passengers. Per British inquiry findings of poor management, your heart races, the deck's slant steepening as you're pushed back, third-class status a barrier. Per survivor testimonies of restricted access, your modern expectations fair evacuation, trained crews would falter here, where privilege dictated survival. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, you retreat to a lower deck, the air heavy with the musty scent of flooding, its damp chill seeping through your shoes. Per survivor accounts of lower deck conditions, the steel corridor is crowded, its walls slick with condensation. Per archaeological finds of Titanic's interior, feel the coarse fabric of your coat, its buttons straining as you're jostled by frantic passengers. Per Jessup's descriptions of third-class chaos. Hear the muffled shouts in foreign tongues, blending with the gurgle of rising water. Per 1912 inquiry, reports of multilingual confusion. Smell the faint rot of damp wood as staircases flood below. Per crew logs, noting rapid water ingress. Third class, passengers faced locked gates and barriers, delaying escape. Per Senate inquiry findings on restricted movement. Your hand grips a banister, its metal cold as you climb. The ship's tilt disorienting. Per Collier's memoirs of desperate ascents. Your modern systems open access. Clear exits would crumble here, where gates trapped many. And yet, the world spun on for a moment. You emerge again on the boat deck, the air biting, its icy chill stinging as the ship lists further. Per Thayer's testimony of worsening conditions. The deck's tick is slick, its frost glistening under flickering electric lights. Per archaeological studies of Titanic's wiring. Feel the smooth rope of a lifeboat's rigging, its fibers damp as you watch another boat lower. Half empty. Per British inquiry, reports of mismanaged launches. Hear the crack of a flare, its hiss piercing the night, blending with cries of those left behind. Per crew testimonies of distress signals. Smell the faint coal smoke, its acrid edge fading as boilers fail. Per ship logs, only 705 survived, with lifeboats prioritizing wealthier passengers. Per 1912 inquiry estimates of class disparities. Your body trembles, the crowds push relentless, as you realize no boats remain nearby. Per survivor accounts of dwindling options. Your modern safety equitable rescues, oversight would falter here, where numbers condemned most. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, the deck tilts sharply, the air thick with the briny scent of the sea, its waves crashing against the sinking hull. Per survivor accounts of the final hours. The lifeboats are gone, their davits empty. Per archaeological evidence of Titanic's deck fittings. Feel the coarse weave of your coat, its fabric soaked as you cling to a railing, the cold steel biting. Per Beasley's descriptions of desperate holds. Hear the groan of the ship, its steel buckling, blending with the wails of stranded passengers. Per Senate inquiry, reports of final chaos. Smell the faint panic of sweat and fear as the crowd thins, some leaping into the icy sea. Per Thayer's testimony of last resorts. The Titanic's lifeboat shortage, a result of hubris and outdated laws, left over 1,500 to perish. Per White Star Line records. Your hand slips on the railing, the ship's slant unbearable as hope fades. Per survivor logs of despair. Your modern life safety regulations, capacity plans would crumble here, where scarcity meant death. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, reflect on this era, where the Titanic's insufficient lifeboats doomed thousands, the air thick with salt, and the cries of the stranded under starry skies. You cling to the railing, the coat's coarse weave a thin comfort, as the ship's groan lulls you, despair settling. Feel the icy deck, its slant steepening, as the night's chaos lingers. Hear the distant flares, their hiss a fading plea. Per inquiry, reports of failed signals. Smell the sea's tang, a reminder of the disaster's toll as hope vanishes. Historical record survivor accounts, inquiry findings paint a tragedy where scarcity claimed lives. Per estimates of 1,500 lost. Your modern world safety, fairness would crumble here where numbers sealed fates. Let this scene fade, its quiet despair a testament to their struggle. As we move to the next trial-freezing ocean exposure, where survival hung by a thread, and yet the world spun on. For a moment, picture yourself plunging into the North Atlantic's icy waters. April 15th, 1912. The air sharp with the briny temps of the sea, its sub-zero chill seizing your breath as you flail, your woolen coat sodden, dragging you down like a leaden shroud. You're a third-class passenger, your leather shoes useless, their soles slipping off a piece of debris. Per survivor accounts, like those of Charles Joan, the dark sea glitters under starlight, its surface dotted with ice chunks. Per 1912 British Wreck Commission reports. Feel the coarse weave of your scarf, its wool heavy with water, clinging to your neck. Per archaeological finds of Titanic passenger clothing. Hear the desperate cries of others, their voices hoarse, blending with the slap of waves against drifting wreckage. Per survivor Lawrence Beasley's testimony. Smell the faint salt of the ocean, its icy bite numbing your face as you cling to a wooden plank. Per accounts of improvised flotation. This is the Titanic's grim aftermath, where freezing waters claimed most within minutes, a brutal test of endurance. Step into this cold, starry scene now, and let the gentle rhythm of its tale unfold, revealing why your modern reliance on warmth and rescue would falter in this era of merciless exposure. And yet the world spun on for a moment. In the water, the air thick with the sea's icy chill, its temperature near 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Per meteorological records from April 1912, the ocean's grip is relentless, seeping through your coat, its wool saturated. Per survivor Violet Jessup's memoirs of sodden clothing. Feel the rough edge of the plank, its splintered wood slick under your numbed fingers as you cling for life. Per archaeological evidence of Titanic's debris field. Hear the faint splash of others struggling nearby, their gasps fading, blending with the creak of a distant lifeboat. Per Beasley's The Loss of the Titanic. Smell the faint metallic temps of ice, its crystalline chunks bobbing around you. Per survivor accounts of floating bergs. Hypothermia set in within 15 to 30 minutes. Per medical studies of cold water immersion, shutting down muscles and organs. Your hand slips on the plank, its chill biting as your body shudders, strength waning. Your modern world thermal gear, swift rescues would crumble here, where the cold was a silent killer, and yet the world spun on. For a moment, spot a lifeboat, its silhouette dim under the stars, the air colder, carrying the briny scent of the sea as you swim toward it. Per survivor Jack Thayer's account of desperate swims. The water's surface is slick with ice, its shards grazing your skin. Per 1912 Senate inquiry reports of icy conditions. Feel the coarse fabric of your coat, its weight pulling you under as you reach for the boat's edge. Its wood smooth but crowded. Per survivor Charlotte Collier's testimony of packed lifeboats. Here, the low moans of passengers inside, their voices weak, refusing to pull you aboard. Per inquiry findings of overcrowded boats. Smell the faint dampness of wet canvas, the boat's cover sodden as you cling to its side. Per archaeological studies of lifeboat materials. Most lifeboats were launched half full, leaving no room for stragglers. Per British inquiry reports. Your fingers ache, the cold numbing as you hold on. The boats sway, a faint hope. Your modern safety rescue protocols, capacity rules, would falter here, where space was scarce. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, the water numbs your limbs, the air heavy with the salt's sharp sting. As you drift, clinging to debris, per survivor accounts of makeshift flotation, the sea is dark, its icy waves lapping. Per wreck analyzes, describing the sinking site. Feel the smooth surface of a broken chair, its varnish worn as you grip it, your body shaking uncontrollably. Per archaeological finds of Titanic's wreckage. Hear the distant crack of the ship's final plunge, its steel groaning, blending with the cries of those left behind. Per Thayer's testimony of the ship's breakup. Smell the faint oil slick from the ship's fuel, its acrid temps mixing with the sea. Per 1912 inquiry reports of debris fields. Hypothermia caused unconsciousness within minutes, with most perishing before rescue. Per medical studies estimating 90% mortality in the water. Your hand slips, the cold paralyzing, as you fight to stay afloat, hope fading. Your modern care-heated shelters, paramedics would crumble here, where the ocean was merciless. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, you drift further. The air colder, carrying the faint scent of ice. Its crystalline edge, sharp as you bob among floating wreckage, per survivor accounts of scattered debris. The stars gleam above, their light cruelly bright, per Beasley's descriptions of clear skies. Feel the coarse wool of your scarf, its fibers frozen stiff as it chokes your neck. Per archaeological finds of passenger clothing, hear the soft splash of waves, their rhythm relentless, blending with the faint whimpers of others. Per Collier's memoirs of fading voices, smell the sea's briny tang, its chill numbing your face as you cling to a plank. Per accounts of desperate survivors. Lifeboats were too far or too full, with no coordinated rescue effort. Per Senate inquiry findings of disorganized response. Your body trembles, muscles seizing, as the cold saps your strength. Per medical studies of hypothermia's rapid onset. Your modern technology flotation devices, thermal suits would falter here, where nature ruled. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, night stretches on, the air thick with the sea's icy breath. As you float, barely conscious, the waters chill, seeping into your bones. Per survivor accounts of prolonged exposure. The debris field spreads, its wooden fragments bobbing. Per archaeological surveys of the wreck site. Feel the smooth edge of a crate, its wood slick as you cling, your fingers numb. Per Thayer's testimony of grasping wreckage. Hear the distant creak of a lifeboat's oars, its sound faint, too far to reach. Per inquiry reports of scattered boats. Smell the faint rot of wet wood, its odor mingling with the sea salt as you drift. Per studies of Titanic's debris. Only 705 survived, with most in the water succumbing to cold. Per 1912 inquiry estimates. Your hand slips, the planks chill unbearable, as your body weakens, the sea's rhythm a grim lullaby. Your modern life rescue helicopters, insulation, would crumble here, where exposure claimed all. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, reflect on this era, where the Titanic's icy waters claimed thousands, the air thick with salt, and the despair of the stranded under starry skies. You cling to debris, the scarves frozen weave, a faint comfort as the sea's rhythm lulls you, hope fading. Feel the icy water, its chill paralyzing as the night's silence settles. Hear the distant oars, their creak a fleeting promise. Per inquiry reports of delayed rescues. Smell the sea's temps, a reminder of the cold's toll as life slips away. Historical records survivor accounts. Medical studies paint a tragedy where exposure killed most, per estimates of 1,500 lost. Your modern world warmth, swift aid would crumble here where the ocean was a silent reaper. Let this scene fade, its quiet despair a testament to their struggle. As we move to the next trial class and social barriers sealing fates, and yet the world spun on for a moment. Picture yourself in a cramped third-class corridor aboard the sinking Titanic. April 15th, 1912. The air heavy with the musty scent of damp linens, its stale temps clinging to your coarse woolen coat as you press against a locked steel gate, its cold bars unyielding under your trembling hands. You're a third-class passenger, your leather shoes slick with water seeping from below. Per survivor, accounts like those of Daniel Buckley. The ship tilts, its steel frame groaning. Per 1912 British Wreck Commission reports. Feel the smooth edge of a wooden handrail, its varnish worn as you grip it. The corridor crowded with panicked faces. Per survivor Violet Jessup's memoirs. Water, per Senate inquiry testimonies of multilingual confusion. Smell the faint coal dust, its acrid grit lingering as stewards block the way. Per accounts of restricted access, where class and social barriers trapped third-class passengers below deck, prioritizing wealthier lives. Step into this dim, crowded scene now, and let the gentle rhythm of its tale unfold. Against the gate, the air colder, its damp chill seeping through your coat. Per survivor accounts of flooding lower decks. The corridor's steel walls are slick with condensation, their vibrations unsteady. Per Titanic's engineering logs. Feel the coarse weave of your scarf, its wool scratchy as you clutch it, the crowd pressing closer. Per Jessup's descriptions of third-class chaos. Hear the clang of the gate, its lock unyielding as stewards shout orders you barely understand. Third-class passengers, often immigrants, faced locked gates and restricted stairways. Per British inquiry findings, noting deliberate barriers. Your hand grips the bars, their steel icy as you plead, the ship's tilt worsening, and yet the world spun on for a moment. You find a stairwell, the air heavy with the briny temps of encroaching sea, its chill stinging as you climb. Per survivor Charlotte Collier's account of desperate ascents. The steps are crowded, their steel treads slippery. Per archaeological finds of Titanic's staircases. Buckley's testimony of third-class struggles. Hear the muffled cries of children, their wails echoing, blending with the groan of the ship's frame. Per Senate inquiry, reports of chaotic evacuations. Smell the faint metallic temps of wet steel as water seeps upward. Per crew logs, noting rapid flooding. Only 25% of third-class passengers survived, compared to 60% of first class. Per 1912 inquiry statistics, highlighting class disparities. Your heart races, the stairwells tilt disorienting as you push upward, hope dim. Your modern fairness equitable. Systems, open paths would falter here, where gates barred the way. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, You reach an upper deck, the air biting. Its icy chill gripping your face as the ship lists further, per survivor Lawrence Beasley's account of sloping decks. The tick planks are slick with frost, their polished surface treacherous. Under your shoes, per archaeological studies of Titanic's deck materials. Feel the smooth steel of a railing, its frost biting your ungloved hand. As you see first-class passengers ushered to lifeboats, their silk dresses rustling, per Senate inquiry reports of prioritized boarding. Hear the sharp whistle of officers, their voices directing wealthier women and children, per survivor Jack Thayer's testimony of class favoritism. Third-class passengers were often left behind, with stewards enforcing class separation, per British inquiry findings of crew bias. Your hand clings to the railing, the crowd's desperation growing as lifeboats lower without you. Your modern, equality fair treatment, inclusive rescues would crumble here, where wealth opened doors. And yet the world spun on. For a moment you retreat to a lower corridor, the air thick with the musty scent of flooding, its damp chill seeping through your soaked coat, per survivor accounts of lower deck conditions. The steel walls drip, their surfaces cold, per archaeological evidence of Titanic's interior. Shouts of passengers, their languages clashing as stewards block another stairway, per Jessop's memoirs of restricted access. Smell the faint rot of damp linens, the air heavy with panic as water rises, per crew testimonies of flooded decks. Historical records show third-class passengers, many non-English speakers, struggled with instructions, per Senate inquiry notes on communication failures. Your hand grips the life vest, its weight slight, as you push forward the ship's tilt, worsening your modern system's clear signage. Translations would falter here, where language and class trapped many. For a moment, the deck above grows chaotic, the air colder, carrying the sharp temps of salt as waves crash against the sinking hull, per Thayer's testimony of final hours. The tick deck slopes sharply, its frost glistening under flickering lights. Per archaeological studies of Titanic's wiring, feel the smooth rope of a lifeboat's rigging, its fibers damp as you watch the last boats lower. Per British inquiry, reports of dwindling options. Hear the wail of a woman, refused a seat, blending with the crack of a flare overhead. Per crew, testimonies of distress signals. Smell the faint panic of sweat-soaked wool as the crowd thins, per Beasley's account of desperate stragglers. Only 705 survived, with third-class passengers disproportionately left behind, per 1912 inquiry estimates. Your body trembles, the cold and fear gripping as you realize no boats remain, per survivor logs of despair. Your modern life equitable. Rescues, oversights would crumble here where class sealed fates. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, reflect on this era where the Titanic's class barriers doomed thousands, the air thick with salt and the cries of the trapped under starry skies. You stand in the corridor, the coat's course weave a thin comfort as the ship's groan lulls you, despair settling. Feel the icy gate, its bars unyielding as the night's chaos lingers. Hear the distant shouts, their voices fading. Per inquiry, reports of restricted access. Smell the sea's temps, a reminder of the disasters. Toll as hope vanishes. Historical record survivor accounts. Inquiry findings paint a tragedy where social divides claimed lives. per estimates of 1,500 lost. Let this scene fade, its quiet despair a testament to their struggle. As we move to the next trial-delayed rescue efforts, where time ran out, and yet the world spun on, picture yourself huddled in a creaking lifeboat, April 15th, 1912. The North Atlantic's icy air stinging your face, its briny Thames sharp as you clutch a coarse woolen blanket, its damp fibers stiff with frost against your shivering body. You're a third-class passenger, barely escaped from the Titanic's sinking decks, your leather shoes soaked, their soles slipping on the boat's wooden planks. Per survivor, accounts like those of Lawrence Beasley. The sea stretches dark under a starlit sky, its surface glinting with ice chunks. Per 1912 British Wreck Commission reports. Feel the smooth edge of the lifeboat's gunwale, its wood slick with ice as you grip it tightly. Per archaeological studies of Titanic's lifeboat materials, hear the uneven creak of oars, their rhythm faltering, blending with the distant cries of those stranded in the water. Per survivor Violet Jessup's memoirs, smell the faint salt of the ocean, its chill numbing your lips as you scan the horizon. For rescue, per survivor Jack Thayer's testimony of dwindling hope. This is the Titanic's grim aftermath, where delayed rescue efforts left you adrift, facing cold and despair in a fragile boat. Step into this freezing, starry scene now, and let the gentle rhythm of its tale unfold, revealing why your modern reliance on swift aid would falter in this era of slow, uncertain rescue. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, you sit, low in the lifeboat, the air thick with the Atlantic's biting chill, its temperature hovering near freezing. Per meteorological records from April 1912, the blanket's wool is heavy, sodden with sea spray, clinging to your shoulders like a cold weight. Per survivor accounts of drenched conditions, feel the coarse texture of the oarlock, its metal icy under your numbed fingers. As you watch rowers struggle, their hands raw from effort. Per Beasley's The Loss of the Titanic, hear the soft splash of waves against the boat's hull, their rhythm relentless, mingling with the faint moans of passengers huddled beside you. Per Thayer's testimony of lifeboat despair, smell the damp canvas of the boat's cover, its fabric sagging with moisture. Per archaeological finds of lifeboat remnants, the Carpathia, the nearest rescue ship, was 58 miles away, taking over 4 hours to reach the scene. Per 1912 Senate inquiry reports, your hand grips the gunwale, its wood frigid as you shiver, the cold sinking deeper into your bones. Your modern world rescue helicopters, instant alerts would crumble here, where distance stretched time into agony. And yet the world spun on for a moment. The lifeboat sways, the air colder, carrying the sharp temps of salt as icebergs loom faintly in the distance, their crystalline edges catching starlight. Per survivor Charlotte Collier's account of Erie's, the wooden planks beneath you are slick, their surface freezing. Per archaeological studies of lifeboat construction, feel the coarse weave of your coat, its wool saturated as you huddle closer to others, their body heat a fleeting comfort. Per Jessup's Memoirs of Cramped Lifeboats, hear the low whimper of a woman nearby, her voice trembling, blending with the creak of the boat's timbers. Per Senate inquiry, reports of overcrowded conditions, smell the faint oil slick from the Titanic's wreckage, its acrid temps mixing with the sea's salt. Per per 1912 inquiry notes on debris fields. Nearby ships like the Californian failed to respond to distress signals, misjudging flares as party lights, per British inquiry findings of communication breakdowns. Your body shudders, the blankets chill, biting, as you scan the dark horizon, hope thinning with each passing minute. Your modern safety real-time tracking, coordinated rescues would falter here, where signals went unanswered. And yet, the world spun on for a moment. Hours drag on, the air heavy with the sea's briny scent, its icy breath numbing your face as you drift. Per survivor accounts of prolonged exposure, the lifeboat's planks groan, their wood damp and cold. Per archaeological evidence of Titanic's lifeboats, feel the smooth rope of the rigging, its fibers frozen stiff as you clutch it, your fingers aching from the cold. Per Thayer's testimony of clinging for warmth, hear the faint cries from the water, their voices growing weaker as those left behind succumb to hypothermia. Per medical studies, estimating death within 15 to 30 minutes in 28 degrees Fahrenheit water. Smell the faint rot of wet wood, the boat's frame straining under the weight of passengers. Per studies of Titanic's debris fields, the Titanic's wireless operators sent desperate CQD and SOS signals, but confusion and distance delayed. Response, per Senate inquiry, reports of limited radio range. Your hand slips on the rope, the cold paralyzing as you huddle, the sea's rhythm a grim lullaby. Your modern technologies, satellite communications, rapid deployment would crumble. Here, where silence met pleas. And yet, the world spun on. For a moment, the night deepens, the air colder, carrying the faint scent of ice. Its crystalline temps, sharp as you float among scattered wreckage. Per Beasley's descriptions of debris-strewn seas, the stars burn bright above, their light stark. Against the dark sea, per Collier's account of clear April skies, feel the coarse blanket, its wool frozen, offering little warmth. Per archaeological finds of passenger belongings. Hear the soft creak of oars, their pace slowing as rowers tire. Per Jessop's memoirs of exhausted crews, smell the sea's salt, its chill stinging your cracked lips as you search for rescue lights. Per survivor accounts of desperate vigils, the Californian, only 10 miles away, mistook the Titanic's flares and failed to act. Per British inquiry findings of miscommunication, your body trembles, muscles stiffening as the cold saps your strength. Per medical studies of hypothermia's rapid onset, your modern rescue's coast guards, instant response would falter here, where help lingered out of reach. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, dawn creeps closer, the air thick with fog, its damp chill clinging to your skin as you sit numb in the lifeboat. Per survivor accounts of weary mornings. The sea is calm but deadly, its surface dotted with ice. Per wreck analyses of the sinking site, feel the smooth edge of a bench, its wood slick with frost. As you lean back, exhaustion heavy. Per Thayer's testimony of drained survivors, hear the faint splash of waves, their rhythm steady, blending with the murmurs of passengers, their voices hoarse. Per Beasley's descriptions of quiet despair, smell the faint dampness of the blanket, its wool fostering sores. Per studies of prolonged exposure, the Carpathia's lights finally appeared at 4 a.m., but for most in the water, it was hours too late. Per ship logs, noting rescue delays, your hand rests on the gunwale, its chill grounding as you wait, hope nearly lost. Your modern life emergency systems, swift aid would crumble here, where time was a merciless foe. And yet the world spun on. For a moment, you drift on. The air heavy with the sea's icy breath, its salt stinging your eyes as the lifeboat rocks, per survivor accounts of endless waiting. The wooden planks are cold, their surface slick with ice, per archaeological evidence of lifeboat wear. Feel the coarse weave of your coat, its sodden wool dragging as you pull it tighter, per Jessup's memoirs of drenched survivors. Hear the distant splash of debris, its faint thud echoing as the sea claims the last of the Titanic's wreckage. Per 1912 inquiry, reports of sinking debris. Smell the faint oil from the ship's fuel, its acrid scent fading as you cling to the boat. Per studies of the wreck site, only 705 survived, with most in the water lost to the cold. Per Senate inquiry estimates, your body aches, the cold unrelenting, as you scan the horizon, the sea's rhythm a fading pulse. Your modern world repeat response, warm shelters would falter here, where rescue lagged in the dark. And yet the world spun on for a moment, its faint salt lingering as you huddle under a coarse woolen blanket, its scratchy fibers a thin shield against the dawn's chill. Per survivor accounts, like Lawrence Beasley's, the ship's wooden deck creaks softly, its planks warm under your battered shoes. Per Carpathia's ship logs, feel the smooth rail, its varnish worn as you grip it, staring at the icy sea. Per archaeological studies of rescue ships, hear the low murmurs of survivors, their voices hoarse, blending with the sea's gentle lap. Per Violet Jessup's memoirs, per 1912 Senate inquiry reports, the Titanic's tragedy, claiming over 1,500 lives, reshaped maritime history. Per British Wreck Commission findings. Step into this quiet, reflective scene now, and let the gentle rhythm of its tale unfold, revealing why your modern comforts would falter in this era of loss, and how the Titanic's legacy endures. And yet the world spun on. For a moment you sit on the deck, the air thick with dawn's chill, its icy breath easing. Per survivor accounts of Carpathia's rescue, the blanket's wool is heavy. Per Jessup's descriptions of makeshift warmth, the Titanic's speed unchecked. Per 1912 inquiry, reports of ignored warnings. Feel the ache of that freezing night, your hands numb as the collision sparked chaos. Per Beasley's, the loss of the Titanic. Smell the coal smoke, a reminder of failed boilers. The icy water's grip, claiming lives in minutes. Per medical studies of hypothermia and class, barriers trapping third-class passengers. Per Senate inquiry findings haunt you. Your hand rests on the rail, its wood steady as delayed rescues, hours too late. Per Carpathia's logs, sealed fates. Your modern world's safety crumble here, where hubris and cold prevailed. And yet the world spun on. For a moment the stars fade, the air warmer, carrying the faint scent of coffee from the Carpathia's galley. Per survivor Charlotte Collier's account of small comforts, the deck hums, its vibrations soothing. Per ship logs, feel the course. Per post-1912 maritime reforms, as you reflect on a tragedy that shocked the world. Per historical records of global mourning, where survival was a fragile thread. For more calming history, subscribe to Boring History to sleep and drift into the past. Let this scene fade, its quiet legacy, and yet the world spun on for a moment.